Folks, welcome back to AMVETS Radio, show number 31. And on right now, I would like to introduce a new, very dear friend of mine who does some pretty incredible things, and he has had a really long day. But Carroll, how you doing, sir?
Good, Perry. How are you today?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you've been delivering your product for most of the day, and what I wanted to do, first of all, one of the things I wanted to talk about was to have you share just a little bit about your veteran service, which you said 10 years, right? You served?
Yes, just a little bit less than 10 years, all throughout the 90s. I was actually in the Army. I did my basic and my AIT at Fort McClellan, Alabama. Then I was stationed at Fort Benning, Georgia, and then went to Korea, Camp Casey, Tongdashan 2ID for a year, and then the remainder of it was down in right outside of Savannah at Fort Stewart.
And here's the funny thing, Gordon. You know,
he's talking about the, in Georgia, in Stewart, and it's like, yeah, I've been there. I did 8.5 years in the Army.
Yes. It was a lot of fun, but after basically my trip over to Kuwait in '98, decided to go ahead and get out. My son was a couple of years old at that time and wanted to see him grow up, and just decided to do something different. And, during that time, probably for the past, I would say, a little over 16 years, I made it my way all the way up to Vice President of Maintenance for a transportation company. And then, Perry, I'll go ahead and just kind of go into what I do. But last year on Father's Day, my father passed away. And when we went down to basically the funeral home, and my stepmom, myself and my stepmom, went to go pick the casket out, we were walking around the room, and I was looking around, and I didn't see what I thought I was going to see. And I asked the lady, I said, what do we do for our veterans? And, about that time, she pointed to a table, and there were some challenge coins. And I looked at her, and, I just kind of a puzzled look on my face. And I was like, that's it? And, no tri-folded flags down there. There was nothing, for that. So, of course, laid my father to rest, and then the brain started thinking, and, I've always supported the vets. I've done multiple half marathons, full marathons, Ironmans, even had the privilege of meeting Mike Day, who was a Navy SEAL that was shot up pretty bad in combat, that was racked, his bike was racked right next to mine at Ironman, Florida. And so that was, pretty neat talking to him. And then, I guess, after my father passed and everything, a couple of months later, I decided to create something, to honor our veterans. And, even though it's a tough subject for a lot of people, I actually custom design caskets that basically doesn't matter what branch, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, firefighters, police department. You name it, we can customize it. And, it's just a small way of showing, our veterans that, that we do care. And, the designs basically have the American flag that can go into, whatever branch that they were in. We can, insert pictures of, the loved ones. If you want to have pictures in it, basically of grandkids or, say somebody in your squad or your company or, your platoon or, pictures on a tank or a Bradley or a helicopter or, whatever it is. we can insert pictures to do that.
But most of the time, Carroll, anytime anybody hears custom, they think more. And I think what makes your product so incredible, and Gordon, you saw his work when you came to Cookeville, it is quality.
Yes.
I mean, it looks awesome. And so I want you now to share with them the cost difference between a custom with their picture, whatever they want on the casket, versus what you see in a regular funeral home.
Well,
because they're gonna freak out. I mean, I didn't expect it. I honestly didn't think that was going to happen.
Let's say this, that my father's casket was $3,500, and it was nice. It was pretty. My caskets, basically that we sell customized, will go anywhere from $2,500 and down. Our most expensive customized casket with all the pictures is $2,500, and every single one. I mean, I want to make it very clear that every single one of our caskets are made in the USA. So
not only that, if they're located in a certain area, you talk about your delivery options. I mean,
yes,
and why you're so tired today.
I actually personally deliver all caskets, whether it's in Tennessee, surrounding all the way Georgia, Florida. My son helps me out. My daughter, she helps me also. And, I've got a very, very supportive family. My wife has put up with me for 2 years, about to be 23 years. So, I asked her to marry me on a Friday and Monday morning when I walked in. First sergeant said he needed to see Davidson, and went into his office and handed me orders to go to Korea. So she wasn't too happy, but she stuck with me. So, with saying all of that right there, it's it's a lot different because, my caskets, they'll range anywhere from $750, which is a beautiful, casket, all the way up to about $2,500 for the, the custom, basically inserting the pictures and everything else. And, I've got some that have the military design already on it. Nobody wants to insert the pictures. Those go for $2,300. And those are actually, they're gasketed, which is a sealed casket. And, it wasn't about the money. It was about honoring the veterans. For the past, 16 years in the maintenance industry, I have visited, I can't even count how many times, military posts, going to job fairs, and, really working with the veterans and, basically hiring veterans that were coming out of the service. Because, we really understood, I should say, what they went through. And it didn't matter if it was, Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, every branch, in the overall mission. So, my small way of, giving back to the veterans is providing a product during a very, very difficult time that the family can, honor them in a way that I believe all veterans should be honored. And, I was listening to, the gentleman talking about the World War II and everything else. And, last year, my mom actually gave me, it's not a DD-214, whatever it was called back in World War II, but it was my grandpa's discharge paperwork. And they're all sitting down to eat and everything else. And, I had it open and was just looking at it. It was, it was really, really neat. So, Perry, it's something that's dear to me.
You also have other items besides caskets as well. Would you spend a few minutes just talking about some of the other items as well, and then let people know how they can access your information too?
Okay. We do carry urns. Have very, pretty good, selection of urns. Different types, different price ranges. Not only on the military caskets, but even if what I call as a traditional casket, whether brown, blue, white, any of those, we carry traditional also. So, if a family, has a loved one that passes and, they don't want a custom casket, they want a traditional one, those range anywhere from $750 up to about $1,950. And again, those are all made in the USA, and they're actually made very, very close to where we're all talking right now. So, can be reached. My website, you can actually go to customcasket.net, and it's got all my information, my contacts on there. I'm actually on Twitter. I always try to tweet a Bible verse and show some pictures of the caskets, different ones, whether it's traditional, whether it's the custom or the military themed ones. It also has a link to our Facebook page where you can look at those. And that's about it, Perry.
Funeral homes must love you.
No comment.
Hey,
Gordon, do you have any questions for Carroll?
No, I did see one of his caskets there in Cookeville, and I was impressed, but how good it was and everything. It really was.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's extremely dedicated to his craft, and he has a great crew. And I've been trying to get you on, but it's been kind of difficult because again, timing is everything. And your schedule. Like for an example, right now you're actually on your way to Florida tonight, correct?
Correct.
So
correct.
I can't begin to tell you how thankful that we are that you've taken the time to be on this show. And again, we would love, matter of fact, you and I have to talk about getting a commercial put together so that we can get it on AMVETS Radio, because it's extremely frustrating when you're dealing with a death in the family and then you have to deal with the financial side of it. And it is expensive, and to have you as an option, I mean, just the custom ones alone. I mean, I can already see Gordon's now. He's got an AMVETS Radio logo on the top of it. I can just see it.
Yeah, actually,
I'm gonna be barbecued. And I want my ashes scattered over Alaska, because that's one place that I love, was being in Alaska.
Yeah,
I lived there for a year and a half, and I want to tell you something. That was heaven on earth.
Yes, sir.
As a matter of fact, your urns are not normal either. By the way, when I was looking at the images for your urns, you've got some motorcycles, gas tanks as urns.
Tanks. There's gas tanks that are a motorcycle, gas tank that's an urn, and then there's also one that is, I think is incredible, that, it's a wooden tri-folded box, and in the front is your tri-folded flag that fits in it, and then, of course, the ashes fit in the back compartment of it. So,
tell me that's not cool, Gordon. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
I mean, it's I never in a million years would have thought of this. And, my father, when he passed away, it was kind of an eye opener. You always think that your loved ones are going to be there, forever. And, my father was not in the military, but he has every single one of my medals, basically all my Class A's, pinned on him. And it's, again, he wasn't in the military, but it was my way of thanking him for supporting me while I was in the service. And, taking care of the family, and, was always there for the grandkids with math problems and, just different things. So, it's a very, very difficult time. I know for a fact, I went through it last year, but, the financial portion of it, when we first walked down there, they tried to show me a mahogany wood casket that was about $10,000. And I can't say what I told the lady on the air, but it was, we went back down and we picked one, and don't get me wrong, it was beautiful, and I understand the whole business side of it, but I don't feel that I'm in competition with anybody because our designs they're custom to the families, with pictures of whatever they want on them. And then, of course, when you basically go to, the traditional ones, the traditional caskets are absolutely beautiful. And they're ones that, you can save thousands of dollars. So, and again, my son and myself and my daughter gets in on it too. We personally deliver them. Nobody else touches them except me.
Well, Carroll, thank you so much for joining us.